Greetings. Welcome to Open Pedagogy and Methods. My name is Dr. Megan Lowe. I am the Director of University Libraries at Northwestern State University of Louisiana. I am located at the main branch of Northwestern, which is located in Natchitoches. My home library is Watson Memorial Library. I am also the OER content expert for the UL system. I have been involved in the open access movement for many years, which led me into open education resources, or OER, about a decade ago. Since then, I've been involved with OER at the institutional and state levels. If you haven't watched the other presentations in the series, Copyright Fair Use and Creative Commons Licenses and/or AOER 101, be sure to check those out first. Please note that this presentation is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike license. Let's jump right in. What is open pedagogy? The definition shown here is from Iowa State University. Open pedagogy is, quote, the practice of engaging with students as creators of information rather than simply consumers of it. It's a form of experiential learning in which students demonstrate understanding through the act of creation. The products of open pedagogy are student-created and openly licensed so that they may live outside of the classroom in a way that has an impact on the greater community. That's a pretty straightforward definition. We can also view it another way. The definition on this slide comes from the excellent website Open Pedagogy Notebook. According to the notebook, quote, we might think about open pedagogy as an access-oriented commitment to learner-driven education and as a process of designing architectures and using tools for learning that enable students to shape the public knowledge commons of which they are a part. Both of these definitions place learners and students at the center of the process. The notebook definition includes the concept of access, while both definitions focus on students as creators and active participants. All of these ideas are important to understand open pedagogy as a concept. So, what is the connection between open pedagogy and open education resources, or OER? Sure, they both contain the word open in them, but is there more to their relationship than that? The answer is a resounding yes. The University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, invoking Robin DeRosa and Scott Robinson, notes that, quote, often open pedagogy includes the creation, use, or revision of open educational resources. Robin DeRosa and Scott Robinson suggest that when we think of OER as just free digital stuff, as products, we largely miss out on the opportunity to empower our students, to help them see content as something that they can curate and create, and to help them see themselves as contributing members to the public marketplace of ideas. In other words, open pedagogy encourages instructors to empower their students as creators, not just consumers, and in this way, students are able to contribute to the larger universe of open educational resources. This process also enhances students' learning. The University of Texas at Arlington offers another way of looking at the relationship between open pedagogy and OER. OER are largely thought of as collaborative resources and opportunities, enhancements to education beyond textbooks, greater access to all kinds of course materials, and operational in the sense that the experiences in open pedagogy have real-world applications. In other words, open pedagogy and OER are two sides of a coin focused on enhancing the world through education. They represent a kind of interoperability in the open ecosystem. One might think of that interoperability in the ecosystem thus: the use of OER supports open pedagogy and vice versa, both of which support student work. Student work in the context of open pedagogy can produce additional OER, which in turn supports open pedagogy and student work. That all sounds great, right? Supporting student work, supporting pedagogy, creating OER. Sounds like a great path forward. But what does that path look like? What does open pedagogy look like? Surprisingly, Open pedagogy often looks a lot like traditional pedagogy. It includes some of the same kinds of tools of the teaching learning trade. Adaptions of existing OER content, where students can take existing OER and update, expand, localize, or otherwise enhance the existing content. Annotations, collaborative annotated bibliographies, annotating resources like websites or audiovisual materials. Creating open textbooks. Anybody can create an open textbook, and who better than learners to provide insight into that process? Games. Gamification in education is a thing and can be leveraged in different ways. Media, like podcasts and videos. Our digital natives are sometimes far more comfortable recording videos or audio clips than the traditional class presentation. Given the sheer number of hybrid and online course programs, these options are a valid alternative to the instructor having to read essay after essay. Questions, including those for quizzes and tests. One of the early complaints about OER was the lack of ancillary materials, particularly test banks. Instead of having students answer questions, why not have them write them? From these questions, test banks can be generated, but they also encourage the students to think critically about the content. And the more the questions the students write, the more robust the test bank can become. Wikis. This one seems a particularly popular with open pedagogical approaches. Not only does it create new resources in collaborative ways, it creates new foundations on which others can build, add, update, revise, etc. Worksheets, kind of self-explanatory. Zines. For a more visually creative experience, instructors can turn to zines, short for magazines. By nature, zines tend to be self-published, and with all the platforms on and to which resources can be published, this is an excellent option for open pedagogical assignments. Zines tend to be the efforts of single individuals or small groups, making them ideal for classes. Open pedagogical assignments tend to be renewable or reusable and authentic. That is, they have a clear relationship to real-world applications and/or skills and contain value within and/or beyond the course to the instructor, the students, and/or society. The renewable, reusable part is best compared to the nature of traditional resources. Students write and submit forum posts, their classmates read them and respond to them, the instructor reads them, observes responses, and grades these efforts, then the forum posts are lost to the ether. In contrast, renewable, reusable assignments carry beyond the current course. You've probably also noticed that they tend to be collaborative as well, whereas the traditional essay or forum posts aren't necessarily collaborative. I don't know about y'all, but I like to see actual examples in such situations. The following examples come from the Open Pedagogy Notebook and the Open Ed group. Links to these resources will be included in this presentation so you can get more details than I am including here. These assignments on this slide are from the Open Pedagogy Notebook. They include students creating a shared annotated bibliography, zines as open pedagogy, student-created group genetics worksheets, and creating an open textbook and expanding an open textbook. The examples on this slide are from the Open Ed group. They include two lists. One is of assignments that have actually been used in courses with links to examples and practice. And the other list includes other ideas related to open pedagogy that the list makers hadn't seen in the real world at the time of creating the list, but felt would work well as open assignments. There are many tools out there that can be used. This list of tools, which are hyperlinked for your convenience, can support open assignments. They either represent tools which can be used in assignments, such as Hypothesis or OER repositories. These tools and platforms have been recommended by several of the resources from which I have drawn the assignment ideas themselves. Some of these tools and platforms are probably familiar to you already. Leverage your own experiences and knowledge as well. There may be public data sets or relevant resources to your specific discipline that you could use. Let's wrap up. Using open pedagogy is a great place to start in terms of integrating open practices into your courses. There are loads of options out there for integrating open pedagogy into a course. Nothing says that you have to use open pedagogy for a whole course. You can use open pedagogy with a single assignment or module, but nothing says you can't use open pedagogy for a whole course if it's a good fit. Using open methods allows you to use collaborative, renewable, reusable, and authentic assignments to support your students both as students and as creators of content. And there are a lot of great platforms and resources out there to support your efforts. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Work smarter, not harder, is my motto. These are the references for this presentation. These are all hyperlinks so that you can view them at your convenience. And here are some additional resources that can support you in your open journey. Thank you for your attention today. I hope this has been useful and enlightening. If you have questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. The best way to contact me is through email at loweme@nsula.edu.